Hi villaging friends, and welcome to the start of part 6 of building Holiday Hills. Now this section is going to be going over building split rail fence. I had previously stated I wasn't going to do this video, but the split rail fencing for this platform is a little bit more unique and different than what I've done in the past, and I wanted to share this with you. Now traditionally I have used fencing such as this, which is a pre-manufactured fencing, and it has its pros and cons. The pro is very easy to work with. The con is just a little too uniform for my taste. So let's get started on working with split rail fence for Holiday Hills. Okay everybody, let's do a quick recap on building split rail fence. If you've seen one of my previous videos that I did for my Evil Lighted Pumpkin platform build, I made split rail fence for that. Now, the same process. These are some of the colors that you'll see in Holiday Hills for the rails. So this is a shellac, a red, a walnut, and a gray. These are just color samples that I was doing. Now the posts are actually going to be this guy. This is a walnut. This is more of a red, so this color here. So let's talk about how this all goes together and what you can and cannot do with these. So these just, I've dremelled out holes. I can put the pieces in. Now this is a different size wood than this. This was, I think, 8/32 by 8/32. Since it's 1/8 by 1/8. When I do my Halloween villages, I like to use this, or even a 1/4. I want something that's bulky and restricting, that's a little bit menacing. Now for a Christmas village, I want something that's a little bit more airy and open. That's why this has 1/8 balsa wood for it. So, general assembly, just a dab, 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 insert, insert, set it down, another dab, oops, everything's sticking to my fingers this morning, and there you have it. Now you can pre-stain this, you can pre-paint this, you can do it after the fact. I personally like to do it after the fact, and I know that's not everybody else's flavor. But this is the basis of a split rail fence. So let's get to installing some split rail fence on Holiday Hills. Here are some quick tips for success when working with split rail fence. Balsa wood is great for regular fence posts and split rails. Balsa wood is not great for corner fence post, base which should be used instead. For hollowing out the fence post, I use a variety of burr bits with my Dremel. I'll link those in the video description below. When assembling the fence, use low temp hot glue. Do not use a lot of glue. After assembling the fence, if you need to add a shape to the fence, you can heat it up with a hair dryer on high heat to make it somewhat bendable. Now let's get started. And here we go. The first house is going to be the Morrison house. On the left side of the screen, I am placing the fence, and then I'm going around with a spade blade on my X-Acto knife. I'm just marking where each fence post is going to go. I'm going to create a shallow square hole with the X-Acto knife. Then on to step 2, using a drill and my shop vac, I'll be going around to each of these square holes that I made and making them a little bit deeper. The whole goal is to put the fence in and to be held in place with friction. After step 1 and 2, we go on to painting the fence for step 3. Now in this particular instance, I'm using the color palette of the brown fence post and a gray for the split rails. And also, after this is allowed to dry, then we go on to the last part of installing the fence, which is simply just placing it into our fence post holes and position it at the height that we want. Let's move on to the town center fence next. Step 1 is going to be taking our fence and placing it where we want it to go and cutting our square holes. Now this fence is going to have a bit of a bend to it, so it's going to be a real fun piece to install. And of course part 2 is deepening the holes that were made for when the fence was marked. Now we can move on to steps 3 and 4 of painting and staining the fence and installing the fence. For this particular fence, I chose to do a series of browns for the fence, so it is a reddish or light brown for the rails and a darker brown for the fence post. And simply installing it is just the easiest process, simply putting it in place and pressing down. Friction will hold everything together. Now let's step over to the Yulesteiner Brewery. Now let's take a quick look at the Yulesteiner Brewery. We're going to go ahead and place the fence and then cut our square holes where the fence posts are going to go into the foam. And then we're going to go back and deepen our fence post holes with the drill and the shop vac standing by to catch any debris. With steps 1 and 2 out of the way, we can move on to staining the fence. And for this particular fence, definitely keeping the brown wood fence post. But for the split rails themselves, I'm actually going to be using a shellac, which is going to give it a yellow or amber color. And the reason I chose this color is because of Germany and breweries. One of the key colors that you see at Oktoberfest is this amber. It's truly amazing how much a little bit of paint or stain will go when doing fencing. So let's take a look at one more section of Holiday Hills, and that's going to be Kodiak's dog sled training and Jasper's cabin. Starting with step 1, let's go ahead and place the fence on the left-hand side of the screen. Now again, I'm just using a spade blade on my X-Acto to mark where the fence posts go so I can make a shallow square hole. Then on to step 2, where I'll deepen the fence post holes using a drill. And I'll have a shop vac standing by to catch any little debris that comes flying out. On to step 3, and I'm going to be staining this fence just like I did the Morrison house with the walnut fence post and the gray split rails. I really like this color combination, and this is going to be right at the very center of the village on the top tier. So it's going to be a nice little focal point. And as you can see, on step 4, installing the fence after it's had time to dry, and adjusting the height accordingly. So now, let's take a quick moment and talk about a couple of little things that I did not cover in steps 1 through 4. Now that you've seen my 4-step process to installing split rail fence, let's talk about some of the other details about fencing that I haven't covered yet in this video. Let's step back to fence creation. When I am creating a fence for a platform, I do measure the area for where I want the fence to be. Then I'll rough build the fence on my bench. Bring that rough build over and place it to see if I need to make any adjustments, such as adding a curvature, shortening, or lengthening a certain section. And then, once all of that is done, we can move on to step 1. Now, with the fence creation, here's a section of fence from the Morrison house. Now, this has uniform fence posts all throughout the entire village. These are all 2 inches in length. This allows me to adjust the height of the fence as needed, because not all of them are the same height. They do vary to add a little bit more of a fun feel towards it. Now, the other aspect of this is because it is tacked together with hot glue, it is very flexible, and I can position this however I need within the village. The last important thing to note is between steps 3 and 4, painting and staining and installing the fence. Now, if you are painting this type of fence, you can paint it on your platform, on your bench, allow it to dry and install, and you can be done in a day. I use wood stain. The important thing to know about wood stain is it eats foam. So anything that you stain that will be inserted into foam needs to be completely dry before installation. I give myself 24 hours before installing the fence. So let's move on to installing some lights on the fence and some additional accessories in Holiday Hills. Here we have some of the Department 56 Starry lights. Now I've taken these and wrapped pipe cleaners around them so they have that nice form factor. These lights were introduced in 1997 and retired in 2000. They are just a simple red, green, and amber light with a star cover over top. I'm installing these lights with a small dab of hot glue behind the light cover itself and directly onto the fence. Now, this can be a very time-consuming process trying to get the look that I want. I may have to glue several of these lights in a row together. Now, one thing that I'm doing too while I'm wiring these in is I have an electrical adapter down below in front of my entertainment center while I'm putting this together. These are not connected yet to their umbilical. They will eventually be there. Now, another aspect of this is these sets are quite long, but in various places they're going to be a little too long, so what I'm going to do is ultimately just cut it and splice it around. And that's going to be on the other side of the township. For those of you just tuning into this series, when I am talking about the electrical umbilical, what this is underneath each of the houses and going through the foam is a bundle of electrical wires. This is not only for the house, but it's to support lighted accessories that go around the house. Each one of these buildings has their own unique umbilical. Let's step up to the Yulesteiner Brewery for a moment and take a look at the lighting for the fence up there. For this particular fence, I'm going to be incorporating some of the Legacy Village lights. Now this is going to require 2 sets, and I'm going to be working around the corner and up to the middle of this fence, where I'll then splice in a new set that will then be spliced again at the walkway and go over the remainder. Now these are micro incandescent lights that you connect up to 2 strands per power adapter. Anything more than that and they won't light at all. Now I've already discovered I'm having a little bit of an issue with some of the power adapters that I have. They are quite old, so I've got some new ones on order. What I've been seeing in my testing with the power supply adapters is the bulbs just get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, and then sometimes one strand will light, the other won't, so it's time for those transformers to be replaced. Now the brewery is really starting to look like it's dressed for Christmas. Let's move over to Jasper's cabin and Kodiak's dog sled training. So I got really lucky and lucked out just completely with this set. I am using 2 different sets of Department 56 package lights. Now these are 2 retired lights that were introduced in 2004 and retired in 2006. I do have future plans to completely re-envision these, but for right now I'm going to go ahead and just install them and roll forward with Holiday Hills and see how I like them this year. I've used these in the past in a variety of different aspects for packages along the walkway, decorating trees, and now just as a fun way to bring some light and color to the very center of Holiday Hills. If you'll take a look at the barbershop that's down below, you'll see that there's got the candy lights that go around its roof line. Department 56 really did like to use the same LEDs with different LED diffusers or covers. This made it easy for them to give you a variety of different things while keeping the electronic base the same. Now let's move over to the Victorian house by Carrolltown for 2025. While going through my inventory of lighted accessories, I ran across these nutcrackers by Department 56 that I've had. I used them last season to frame out a Santa in the center of the village kind of thing, but with everybody buying the giant nutcrackers, I thought what a great idea to have out in front of this house for the walkway. And that adds so much character already to the front of this house. Even with the Santa blow mold in the yard, the 2 offset nutcrackers, they just look phenomenal. So this pretty much wraps up part 6 of building Holiday Hills. So let's take a moment to recap our progress. And here we have Holiday Hills thus far. I do have some minor electrical issues to address with some of the lights not being as bright as they should, but overall, it's coming together quite nicely. There are a couple of fences that I have not illuminated yet, mainly because I have to make the lights for them first. That'll be coming up in a future standalone video. I'll be recycling some Department 56 lights on a future video for a couple of these fences. After many delays, I finally have some lighted accessories that have come in that I can use to finish up the town center. And up next will also be a video on rewiring that Victorian house from Carrolltown's collection. Can you guess how far along I am in this project? If you guessed 55%, you are correct. Big things are coming in part 7 of building Holiday Hills. Thank you for watching, and as always, keep on villaging! Happy holidays, and thanks for watching Building Holiday Hills Part 6, Split Rail Fencing. If you like this video, like and subscribe for more. There's going to be several more sections for Building Holiday Hills that I'm currently working on, but first I have a couple accessories that I need to get taken care of. Stay tuned for more, and as always, keep on villaging.